local climate voices like Camille, who's protecting mangroves in the Philippines, or the Kayapo tribe, who has been stewards of a part of the Brazil for hundreds to thousands of years. And we are collecting data here with them. That's where the photos come from. And they have a problem. It's big agriculture, encroaching on their land. And they lack the resources to advocate for themselves, to lobby in the rooms where the decisions about land rights are being made. And all of a sudden you are in this room and you wonder why a hectare of monoculture soy is more important than a 1,000-year-old forest that's locking up carbon, a hotspot of biodiversity, and is protecting the people through flood protection. And I wonder myself what went wrong. I think fundamentally this might be a question of information and communication. And there is global decision makers that have millions to billions of dollars. And the question is, how do we connect? These people, they would unlock funds if we answer their questions. Their questions are very concrete though. They are, how many tons of CO2 are you actually storing in your forests? How many lives are being saved through the forest's flood protection mechanisms? And as a modeler, I can tell you, oh boy, these questions are hard to answer. We answer them by running climate models or flood models on these supercomputers. And running a climate model at local resolution that is needed, like 1 kilometer, would take 3 weeks on a 5,000 GPU node supercomputer, consuming the same electricity a coal power plant would generate in 1 hour. So that's super infeasible. And on top of this, if we generate local climate information, it's stored in petabytes on these supercomputers. And then you think of the Kayapo tribe and you think about how are they going to access this information to share in their community meeting or in their policy meeting where they have to advocate for their rights. It's not accessible. So the question is, how do you make climate information more accessible? And I want to share one initiative. It's MIT On-Roads, and they built this fantastic tool. It lets us explore questions like, how is a 20% reduction in deforestation going to impact global temperatures? And this model is so good, it has educated about 200,000 people, and it's very accessible. You can download it and run it on your local computer even without any internet access because it's computationally so lightweight. But there comes in inaccuracies because we're just simulating one global number, this global temperature that you can see here, and there's also no local impact. So this big question is, how can machine learning now help create this, but at a more local scale? And that's what we are trying to do with collaboration of all the people mentioned below. And also there's some other people trying to do similar things that I would like to highly empower to do so. We want to develop a toolbox, something that runs on your smartphone, where you can explore the local impact of climate policies in an engaging way. And you can show other people, now, this is how local decisions are going to impact local climate. And at the backbone, this will have physics-informed machine learning. Physics-informed machine learning. So how can machine learning create this local climate information? And for this, I would like to entangle the climate modeling piece for you. We do climate predictions by coarsely having a low-resolution climate state way back in the days. And then we take our differential equations, maybe 20, 30 differential equations, and we all integrate them forward in time. Throughout this integration, we add radiative forcing, aka what the greenhouse gases do with us. They are simulated based on the climate policy sliders like deforestation. The issue is that integrating these differential equations is so computationally expensive, as I explained to you before. And now comes in machine learning. A year ago, NVIDIA went out and they forecasted the weather. And they forecasted the weather for the next days in seconds. That might not sound that fast, but typically the models run in days. So seconds versus days, way faster. But these models are incredibly data hungry. It was trained on pretty much all weather data that was ever recorded. And we also don't fully trust machine learning models yet in creating safety critical information like the weather or the climate. So we want to combine physics with machine learning. And there's many ways to do so, combining machine learning with physics. And here I'd like to just share with you one of those ways is to say, let's rely on the physics that we've done for large-scale dynamics and correct the large-scale dynamics with some machine learning terms, some hard-to-model term, like, for example, turbulence. And once we have done this, we have this low-resolution climate state into the future, and we want to downscale it onto the local resolution. That's typically done by linear interpolation. And you look into the news, and you hear AI generates images from text. That sounds very unrelated, and I frankly don't fully care that now we can put in a realistic photo of a young man standing inside a spacecraft wearing a futuristic outfit. Might look like this. This man doesn't really exist, it's AI generated. It is cool, to be honest. But this technology has been taken a step further. Now, for example, we look at Chelsea Finn, a famous machine learning researcher, and a low-resolution version of her face can now be recreated in very high resolution, upscaled up to 20 times. The question is, can we now apply this technology to real-world problems like the climate or the weather? Can we use these diffusion-based models to create local climate information? And then once we have this local climate information, we will feed it into an impact model, like, for example, the flood models, and then into a visualization engine. And with the visualization engine, I would like to remind us that we're trying to create something that is useful for locals to convince other people. So it needs to be engaging and relatable. And here, for example, we have used machine learning, the same technologies, again, generative vision models, to create the first physically consistent and intuitive visualization of future coastal floods that you can, for example, see here in this decision table. And local information has already, through our data collection efforts with Camille in the Philippines, led to a big promise by a large technological corporation to fund their conservation project. So that empowers me to keep on going my work, and I would like to encourage everybody out there that machine learning cannot only be used for advertisements or making them more targeted, but also can be used for closing the gap in between climate information and empowering local people. Thank you.